Hi, Jasmine.
Yay! Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Good morning.
Um, Hold on, I have a little bit of a
Yeah,
microphone.
yeah, yeah. Take your time. I'm gonna double check this.
Can can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, good. Yay, it worked.
Perfect. All right. Thank you
Good
so
to see
much for doing
you.
this.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Okay, so, well, people are joining, so maybe we should just get started. This
Okay.
is great. All right. Okay. So, welcome to everyone. My name is Jasmine Buse, and I'm the co-founder of Madison and Green. And this is my conversation series with wellness experts, episode 4. And today's guest is Kazuko Sakura, and she also goes by Kaz. Thank you for joining us, and well, thank you for doing this. And let's just get started. So you're a yoga instructor, you're a mother of 3 beautiful children. You're also trilingual, or how many languages do you speak?
Well, I'm Japanese, so I speak
Yeah,
Japanese, and then English is my second language. And I lived in Paraguay, so I speak a little bit of Spanish. I'm working on it.
that's amazing. So
Uh,
yeah, why don't you tell us like your background and how you became a yoga instructor, just anything you want to share about yourself.
Okay, sure. So I'm from Japan, but I was born in Panama. My parents are missionaries, so I've been moving around ever since I was a baby. So I lived in 9 countries, 7 of them I remember. Some of them I don't remember. Anyways, even after we returned to Japan, we moved from prefecture to prefecture. So I got picked on because of the accent and everything. So I always felt this like insecurity, don't fit in kind of feeling, right? And then, yeah, after we moved to Paraguay, I did yoga before, but I wasn't really serious about it. And then I had to go through separation and divorce, especially right after having a miscarriage with the fourth baby. It was really hard, right? And I didn't have any friends there, no families, right? But then this lady said, Kaz, why don't we go to yoga together? So I just joined. And then my yoga people became my family. And that's where I finally got to like cry. I didn't want it to cry in front of the kids, right? So that's how I really got into yoga. That was Kundalini, by the way. Really
Okay.
nice. Yeah. So I just thought, okay, yoga is incredible. It's such a healing power. I want to share that with the world. So I wanted to become the yoga instructor. So we moved back to California, Paradise. I got my yoga instructor certificate. And then the campfire happened, and we moved again.
Oh my God.
Anyway, yeah, long story short, I really think everything happens for a reason. And I think there's a reason that for us that we are interacting here in this IG Live. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, Jasmine,
Well,
for having
thank
me.
you. I'm really excited to be able to chat with you because so we met, I guess, like 6 months ago, maybe 6 or 7 months ago online, and it was just a casual chat because we both speak Japanese. And I was like, and
Yeah.
then you shared a little bit about yourself, and you had such a fascinating background. I mean, the fact that you moved around to so many different countries, and I share with you absolutely. I grew up in Japan, and when I first came here, I was, picked on because I couldn't speak at all. I was extremely insecure. And I still am a little bit, I'm going to be honest. I still am not confident in my language. So I completely understand like that aspect, but you have such a fascinating story. And the fact that yoga was this healing method for you is such an incredible story too. And um, I am not great at yoga. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Great yogini.
I've taken a couple of classes with you, and they're so wonderful. By the way, to anyone who's watching
Thank you.
this, I'm
Thank
gonna share this information with you again about how you teach classes. But I became interested in Yin Yoga very recently, and this is kind of the topic. If you're starting if you're going to start a conversation about yoga, there's so much to talk about. I feel like the scope is
you.
too large. So I wanted to narrow down to Yin Yoga. And when I mentioned it to you, you said that you teach Yin Yoga as well.
Mhm.
Or I guess you used to work at a yoga studio, and did you teach Yin Yoga back then?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like kind of wanted to narrow down, and yeah, I have a lot of questions about Yin Yoga to you. So, can you first tell us what Yin Yoga is to everyone who doesn't know about it?
Yeah, the Yin Yoga is a type of the yoga that you stay in the same position for a long time, long periods of time. So no moving muscles, and no standing poses. I mean, maybe the closest to standing would be one knee on the ground, right? Um, so we are, according to the Chinese, the meridians, we work with the meridian. That's the pathway that goes through in your body. That's the pathway for prana, the life force energy. And we also working with the fascia, which is the collective thin layer of the collective tissue that holds your organs and then connects with the bones, bone to muscles and everything. So it's really good for joints because the fascia is working. And since we're staying on the same position for a long time, you don't want to be like in pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think in yoga, the key is to find your proper edge or safe edge. Like you don't want to be in sharp pain the whole time. That's dangerous. But you don't want to be not feeling anything at all. You still want to feel some sensation of stretching. So that's my understanding of yin yoga.
Yeah, and is there like a meditation component to it at all? And breathing exercises, or what are the
Yeah.
other elements other than just stretching?
Yeah, so what I just said was basically just the physical aspects, right? But for me, there's a lot of internal aspects. So finding your proper edge, it's like, you're facing this pain, the stretching pain, right? But you're facing your fear. I take it as facing your fear. So a lot of us, we don't want to face the fear. You don't want to feel the pain. You try to run away from it. But eventually you have to face the pain. Eventually, you have to face the fear. They just gonna keep coming back to you. So you embracing yourself and then just try to indulge yourself in this fear. You face it, and then eventually the peace comes along. So yeah, I think
Nice.
it's working internally, like healing, and yeah.
And how do you breathe during Yin Yoga? Is it a very calm, like, because when I practice yoga, they always, instructors always say, make sure you're breathing and in and out, kind of, and a quick pace. That's almost too much for me sometimes. But in Yin Yoga, do you just breathe at your own pace, or is there a specific way to do it, or?
Yeah, I believe there is no, right or wrong answer to it.
Okay.
But for me, I think the ujjayi breath helps a lot. So ujjayi breath is the one that you kind of contract the back of your throat. When you go, that's the sensation that you feel in the throat. That part you contract a teeny tiny bit and then breathing through the nose. So like pretty loud. Did you hear me?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
basically the exhalation has bigger sound. Some people call it like an ocean wave sound, or some people call it Darth Vader breath. Yeah. So when you're thinking about hiking up the really steep mountain, like let's say you're climbing up Mount Everest or something like that, really steep, right? And then there's a rope that you hold on to. That's the rope that supports your life, right? I take it as the breath is that rope. So when you're doing yin yoga, you are feeling a little bit of pain, right? The sensation. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how long I can hold this. And then you grab onto that rope, which is the ujjayi breath. And you can apply to that in a daily life too, actually. When you're working or you're in a really stressful situation, you're like, oh my gosh, heart is thumping. And then try to do your breathing ujjayi breath and come back to the rope. It's as long as you're holding on to the rope, you're fine. You're not gonna die.
Right. Which which kind of people do you recommend Yin Yoga for? So there's a little, when I was chatting about it with my girlfriends the other day, they thought it was restorative yoga. And that's different, right? Slightly, even though you hold the poses for a longer period of time than compared to, let's say, Kundalini. It's meant for different people. So is it correct to say that restorative is for people who are injured or who are, basically as a physical therapy, and yin yoga is more for, anyone who's not, who doesn't have any issues? Like, who do you recommend yin yoga for? And what is the difference between yin yoga and restorative yoga?
I think yin yoga for people who has anxiety, a lot of stress, that affects your joints too. You get stiff, like holding tension in your body, and you get so stiff, like especially the hip, right? So people who has that, I highly recommend the yin yoga. And the difference between yin and the restorative yoga is that restorative yoga is all of your parts of your body is supported with pillow or bolster or blocks. So you're basically onto the ground, completely supported, and you can fall asleep if you want to. But yin is no, you're not gonna fall asleep because you're feeling that pain, right? Yeah, but it's a comfortable pain, comfortable.
Comfortable. It's like a medium pain, right? Medium pressure. You don't want to. It's a balance.
Yeah, especially, exactly, as a balance, because as human, as for us, we always have to challenge ourselves to expand our limitation, right? That's I think, metaphor for finding healthy boundaries, proper edge when you're stretching, and you still wanna push yourself a little bit more, then you get to expand more.
Okay. Well, okay. And you said that it's really great for anxiety relief because you said it's great for joints and such. What do you think the yin yoga? Well, actually, you kind of answered this question. I'm sorry. I have a cheat sheet of questions, and I realized we already covered this. I'm going to keep going. So actually, let's just get to the physical, let's show the poses.
Sure.
So I have my yoga mat ready behind me, and the cushions. I do have a wall over there, so I'm going to turn the camera when you're ready for that.
Okay.
All right, let me move my chair. Oh, and before we start, who do you not recommend this for? Who do you not recommend it for? Anyone with joint pains or is there?
Yeah, if you have any knee pains, then you definitely want to pat the paddings under your knees, and always just listen to your body. If you feel any sharp pain, always come out gently. Yeah.
So just listen to your body first before you push yourself doing this. Just for safety measure, I'm like, not work everywhere. All right.
Can you hear me? I'm back here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So I have a pillow, or you can use the block.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
how many poses will you be sharing with us?
What'd you say?
How many poses will you be sharing with us today?
I'll be sharing maybe like 8.
Ooh, that's a lot. I love it. That's great.
Including the one for the kids.
Okay.
So the first one is called lizard pose, but yin yoga we use a different term, so they call it dragon pose.
Okay.
Yeah. So coming down to the mat, first you can have your hands and the knees.
Sorry, hold on. I'm making sure that I'm in the camera. Okay.
Yeah, you got a nice settings there, Jasmine. I love that. So let's bring the right foot forward.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you're gonna walk your back knee back. You can walk back, walk back. And you're gonna have the hands next to each other, both hands next to each other, and place the front foot more to the outside. So you might even stepping onto the edge of your mat if you're using the yoga mat.
Wait, the hands inside or outside?
Inside.
Inside, okay.
Yeah. So right knee is pretty out, and you can point the toe outward as well.
Okay.
what you're doing, you're really dropping the hip in between those knees. There you go.
Okay.
So you stay here on your hands and try to push your heart forward to keep your back nice and straight. Because if you're rounding the spine, you don't feel much sensation on the hip socket, right? So you push your heart forward. Yeah, there you go. And then if you are available to do this, maybe you can come down onto the pillow, rest your elbow onto the pillow.
Ooh, this is a stretch.
I know, right?
I love it. Oh, it's really opening it up down here.
Yeah, and then here's the thing. Some people love it when you push the knee away from the body so that the sole of the foot comes off of the mat. That's another option. But for some people, it's too painful. So if that's the case, what do you think? You can try it out a little bit to see how you feel.
I am so stiff, and this is why I love Yin Yoga. It's like I really need this stretch.
Yeah, a lot of stretch here actually. So either knees out or step onto the foot. It's really up to you. And even when you're on your elbow, try to push your heart forward a little bit. Then more stretch is gonna come to your hip socket.
Ooh.
You might not need a pillow. If that's the case with you, you can just come down to the mat. Yeah, whichever. If you need more height, you can fold the pillow or double the pillow and more height to it. So you can adjust to however according to your body structure.
I'm definitely a beginner, so I'm going to take the easier route.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So finding your proper edge, you know what I mean? The proper edge, you still feel a little bit of, sensation, but you can hold on to that position for at least 1 minute.
So is that what you recommend for all the poses, about 1 minute for beginners?
Yeah, so you can start from just even 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, you can switch sides. Then part of the pose, always move slow.
Always move slow. That's good.
Yeah, because you're in the same position for such a long time.
Yeah.
When you suddenly move, your muscles start freaking out, like, what's going on? So,
Yeah.
and then always try to compare left and the right side. One side might be more open than the other.
Yeah,
It's all
definitely.
how your body is responding to each asana, each poses. How are you feeling on this side, Jasmine?
This is easier for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm more flexible on this side, so I'm going to put the pillows.
Oh, that's great.
Challenge myself. Is there a name for this asana?
Yeah, this one, if you want to call it in Yin Yoga term, it's called dragon pose.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You already said that.
That's okay. But in a normal yoga, they call it lizard pose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are all the...
That's fine if you can. Yeah, which is hard to do, isn't it?
So are the... Oh, I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off.
Sorry, what?
I was going to ask, are the names in Yin Yoga poses all different when it's...
Yeah, a lot of them it's different.
Oh, wow. That's confusing. You got to memorize a lot of names.
Yeah. All right, let's slowly come out. So hands on the mat and then slowly lifting the hip and then come out of the pose. Now you can have the right foot forward, moving on to the pigeon pose or sleeping swan in yoga term, which is moving the right foot over to your left hand and then drop the knee in front. So you're having the shin in front of you. And in this pose, it's really easy for the hip to open to the side and that back kneecap is not touching the floor like this. You wanna avoid that. So if there's a lot of gap between this right hip and the floor, you can put the pillow or the block for the support so that you can make hip bones facing forward completely. That's, yeah. So the block might be too bulky, so you're doing the right thing, placing the pillow. Yeah, so both hip bones facing forward, right? That's good. And then go ahead and walk your hands forward and then drop the forehead or the cheek, whichever that feels good to you. So
I love this stretch.
Yeah, you feel a stretch on your outer hip, outer glute, in the groin area. This is Yeah, really good for hip joints, working on a fascia. And our hips are tend to collect all the negativity from your body, from your emotions. So it's really good to release them by using this pose. This
Nice.
yeah. And then since we can't be here forever,
Yeah.
let's move on to the other side. You want to do the other side too, right?
Yeah, let's do it so that if anybody's watching and doing this together, they can kind of follow us.
Nice and balanced, left and the right. So again, if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, that's so very hard to balance, have the heel closer to your hip. And then it might be easier to square off the hip, so you can do that too. The more open your hips are, the more flexible your hips are, the further away your heel is from the hip. So yeah, you can always compare left and the right in this pose as well. Walk your head forward and then drop the head.
I'm getting off of the screen. I should get back up.
Yeah. So you're not holding your breath, right, Jasmine? You're doing your ujjayi.
You know, I feel like this is really important for a lot of people who are working from home, like myself. We're all kind of stiff, and now that it's getting colder, especially in the Northeast, people are, going out less often because it's cold out or it's been raining, so you just don't step out. And being in front of the computer all day, and that's how I feel like the past 6 months I became stiffer and stiffer. So I think this is really beneficial for anyone who's just like sitting at home and not moving.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, the less you move, your body gets too stiff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's slowly come out, coming onto your hands, and then moving slow. We're gonna shift your body facing to the right side, and then grab your pillow. Now we're gonna move on to the deer pose. This is one of my favorite. Really good for your guts, for digestive system. So you're facing towards one side of the mat, touching the pillow with your left side. And opening your knees apart. So in the beginning, it's confusing.
Wait, am I doing this? I'm sorry, I need to look closer into the camera. Oh, I see. Okay.
Me? Yeah. Sorry, it's hard to see. So pillow is touching your top of your left side, knees apart. Yeah. And then making the knees, both knees bent in 90-degree angle. Yeah. So you're gonna have to push that right knee way back, actually, if you can.
Like that?
Yeah, that's basically the back side, the right side, and then your left shin is parallel to each other, ideally.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if it doesn't open, that's fine, Yeah, you look good.
Okay.
And then now, twist your upper body facing towards the pillow. Exactly. And then walk your hands outside of the pillow. You're framing the pillow, and then walk your hands forward, and then melt your heart down. So as you drop your upper body down, your knees tend to close up towards each other. That's normal, so it's fine, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, nice twist here. If you want to emphasize on twisting, you can even look to the other direction and drop your other chin down to the pillow.
Wow.
Which is really intense, right?
And I love that we're making poses that we would never do in a normal life. Like, it's just, we don't bend in this way ever. So
yeah, or twist this intensely, right?
And it kind of like teaches you about your body and where the muscles are, and it's kind of nice to like give attention to that all these hidden muscles that you get to work that you don't usually get to use, and kind of learning about yourself.
I'm appreciating you that you're appreciating that. I'm glad you're noticing that. That's exactly, that yin works for you. So if this is too hard for some of us, you can do double the pillow to make it higher. And then it gets much easier to lay down too. Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you still want to feel, stretch onto your lower back, You still want to feel some sensation there. But
Yeah.
this is pretty comfortable. I can stay here all day.
Yeah, you're right. With two pillows, it's no problem.
Yeah, before we get too comfortable, let's switch to the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side. So, moving the pillow over to the other side, or you can turn around, but I want to face you, so.
This way.
And now the pillow is touching my right side, knees are apart. Yeah, you're looking good. You got this, Jasmine. And then twisting, facing the pillow. Yeah, and then walking your hands forward, dropping the head.
And what is
And
this pose called again? I'm sorry.
this one is called deer pose. Mm-hmm. I try to remember this pose. I was like, it feels so good. I go like, oh dear, so good. So if you want, yeah, if you want to intensify the stretch and the twist, turn the head to the other side.
And I guess you would recommend people having little timers. Like I bought a little timer for myself so that, it's kind of an evened out seconds for every pose. So like 30 seconds, 1 minute.
Yeah, the time is completely up to you.
Okay.
You can start from 30 seconds, and as you work your way up, you could even hold it to 5 minutes as long as your time allows it.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next pose, shall we?
Great.
Okay, so now this is another one of my favorite, opening up your legs wide. So here comes the proper edge. You want to be 100% like open up, open up. You want to keep it like 70%, not too much. And you can have the pillow in front, add a little height, like holding it if you wish. And then if you can come down to the elbow, you can. If you can't come down to the pillow, that's fine. Just come on your hands. Yeah. And then in this pose, it's really interesting. Make sure the toes are pointing up, and you can even activate your quads if you wish, activate your glutes if you wish. You don't have to keep activating though, that'll be too tiring. So you can just activate sometimes and release, lifting the kneecap towards the hip, and then see how different muscles starts, stretching, different sensation happening. And then you can also think about, how your day went today, or you're doing it in the beginning of the day. You can set the intention for throughout the day, kind of checking in with yourself internally. Yeah.
I remember this is, oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say you can come out. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I remember doing this in like a gym class to stretch, and I was definitely a lot further down. This was so sad.
Yeah, this is pretty hard. I mean, before I started yoga, I was not able to open this much at all. I couldn't touch my toe. And then after I started yoga, my body became pretty flexible. But then after I started teaching Yin Yoga, I got even more flexible. That was amazing. It was crazy.
Would you say that if anyone started practicing, anybody at any age can become more flexible through Yin Yoga?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But try not to force yourself too much though. Sometimes the ego takes over.
Yeah.
And then can be flexible, yeah. And then, you injure your knee or whatever. So I don't want to have that. So come out of this pose, make sure you lift your knees first. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Lift your knee first, and then close your feet together. And then after this pose, I like to do bound angle pose and in yoga, they call it butterfly pose. So you can hold on to the big toes and then folding in half. And another way is to push your heels away from your hips, make a bigger diamond shape. If that's easier for you to fold, that's another option. So again, finding your proper edge. You can gently press down to your shins with your elbows. so that without touching the knee, you can kind of press your knee toward the floor. Yeah. And then
Is it nice and simple? I love it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's overwhelming. I have a yin book, and the poses look like, you're twisted like crazy. It's like, I don't know how, if I'm doing this right. But this is great, like, beginner pose, for sure.
Yeah, this is pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then slowly come up. Again, you can stay here as long as you want, but we don't have all day. So one thing I wanted to mention about Yin Yoga, you know how the muscle work? Let's say this is the knee. If you want to keep extending the knee, and there's a antagonist and synergist that, anatomic word, I'm not so sure, but one muscle is to bend the knee, another muscle is to extend the knee, right? So if you're keeping this extension for a long period of time, and then the muscle starts freaking out and send a signal to the brain like, holy crap, what's going on? Why is it stretching for such a long time? And they start panicking. So then the brain receives that message, and then brain goes, oh my gosh, and they send that message to the other parts of the muscle saying, you have to bend it, right? Get to work. And then so that's when this fidgeting happens, like move, when you're holding your pose for a long time in Yin Yoga, you have this like fidgeting, I want to move, That's when you focus on your breath. Then I think it's the same thing as anxiety too, when you have, panic attack or whatever, and then you wanna, you just panic, right? But then try to come back to your breath and then ease into it, like melt into it instead of fighting against it, like go away,
Right.
That's yin part. So yin and yang, the yang would be more vigorous, sometimes aggressive, like vinyasa or ashtanga, right? So we need both.
Balance, of course.
Both aspects. But the yin is that, approaching by more gentle and then more compassionate to yourself instead of fighting this, anxiety, but you're just trying to melt it down, like becoming together, because anxiety is also part of yourself. So just try to, it's okay, like that.
No, that's all important to remember when you're making these poses, because otherwise, like you said, physically you'll start becoming anxious. So it's like when I sit and meditate for a while, your physical anxiety starts to build up, and then now you have to work your mental to relax yourself, which is really ironic almost, but
yeah. But I think, I forget who said that, but somebody said the person who can steal their body can steal their mind. And I think it's just brilliant. It's just so true. You're, exercising, you're practicing with the physical body to know, like learn how to work with your anxiety and stress, like internally. So yeah, very interesting stuff.
It's deep if you actually start thinking about everything.
Yeah. So now comes to do you mind if we move on to the Yin Yoga for kids?
Yeah, so like I said earlier to everyone who's listening, has a beautiful mother with beautiful children. So do you do yoga poses with, like, do you do yoga with kids, with your children?
Yeah, sometimes. I teach the kids yoga right now on the Zoom and also at the park, keeping the distance.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. And my daughter joins us too, so. Yeah.
Is it easier to convince your daughter than your sons? Because the boys are older, right? You have oldest is a boy, another boy, and then a girl?
Yeah, that's right. The oldest one he just entered the high school. So sometimes, he has so much, so much thing going on and he cannot sleep sometimes. So yeah, we try to do yoga together, bedtime yoga. And then he tells me like, oh, I slept really well last night, Mom, like that. And, yeah, which is really nice.
Do you think it's important for children these days to learn how to do yoga?
Yeah, especially nowadays, all the classes are in online, so they don't get to see their friends, which is really sad. But it's you cannot do anything about it, right? Because it's pandemic.
Yeah.
So now a lot of kids and a lot of moms are having such a stressful time. We don't know how to deal with this kind of stuff. It never happened before, right? So by doing yoga, I believe that, especially if you can do yoga with your kids, mommy and the kids together, they bond together, then maybe your kids will open up a little bit afterwards, having a same experience. And then during the yoga session, all these thoughts comes in. It's so interesting. Does it happen to you too? Like,
Oh,
this thing, I forgot about it. It happened many, many years ago, but comes back to me. That's something that I need to work on. It's like my homework.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's an emotional
Yeah.
experience, because you're
Mhm.
sitting calmly and just like
Mhm.
meditation, you have all these thoughts coming and then you have to learn what to do with those thoughts, which is another beautiful aspect, I think, of, taking time to be with your body and feeling it and noticing your emotions.
Mhm.
But I think I really truly believe that children these days, should have yoga classes in schools and, learn
Mhm.
how to really, be connected to their bodies because
Mhm.
otherwise I just don't know. It's such a wonderful anxiety relief, and especially like you said, can be a bonding experience for children and mothers or
Mhm.
fathers. I think that's also a wonderful
Mhm.
thing to have
Yeah.
in the
Mhm.
routine of their
Yeah.
lives. Okay, so these are, I guess, simple poses for children that anybody can do, and I guess parents can also join. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so please show
Yeah.
us poses for
Okay.
kids.
So yeah, again, we're gonna start with the butterfly pose that we just did.
Okay.
But especially if you're doing yoga with the small kids, they want to have like movement. You cannot just start going to the
Yeah.
stillness. It's hard. So let's work their energy out doing the yang part first and then moving on to yin part.
Okay.
Yeah, so holding on to the big toes, and you can say that this is a butterfly pose, butterfly trying to fly.
Yeah. That's great that you can kind of describe it, yeah, like cutely, so that.
The kids have so many crazy imaginations, so yeah,
Right.
you go like this, and you can feel different muscles receiving a nice massage from the earth. You feel that?
Yeah. Oh, this feels so good. Oh, my
Right?
butt.
Yeah, I love this one too, and the kids love it too. And then if you wanna try a little bit more challenging pose for the kids, you can hold on to the big toe with one hand and then extend the wing like this. Extend
Oh,
and then close.
I bet
I
the
know.
kids are more flexible.
Like, oh my gosh. But the kids are, kids are pretty flexible. They're like, oh, this is nothing.
Yeah. Kids can do yoga better than adults can, I'm sure.
Yes. But we used to be that flexible before.
Yeah. Oh, that feels good though.
Yeah, we lose our flexibility as we get older, so let's try to keep it nice and young. And this one kid start doing this, both.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
Balancing their pose.
I
Yeah,
can't
there you
believe
go.
I'm doing this.
Getting close. So after you work your energy out, now you can come to now we can come to the yin part. So yeah, go ahead and drop your head. If you wanna push the heels away from the body, you can do that too. And you can always incorporate with the music too, so that in the beginning of the yang part, you can play fast-paced music. And then when you enter the yin part, you can switch the music to something more slow and mellow, more relaxing music. Yeah.
Do you have any song recommendations that you can come up off the top of your head or?
I just go to YouTube.
That
Yeah.
always works.
Yeah, or Spotify, like yoga music or something. Yeah. Or, I mean, if you're doing yoga with the kids, let the kids choose the music. My son, he loves rock music, like old indie rock, and yeah. I think that your kids would appreciate it if you let them choose the music.
Yeah, because quietness can bore them very quickly. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was my dog pushing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's our
Your puppy is here.
She likes to join me during yoga sessions, and she just can't help herself but to distract me.
That's cute.
Sorry. All right. Sorry if it's better if she just joins.
You got the little sweater on, nice and warm.
Yeah, it's so cold in here. Oh my gosh, it's like
It's pretty cold too, here in California too. All right, let's slowly come out. And now moving on to another pose. So the first yang movement. So I was thinking,
oh, she's doing a yoga pose.
low lunge, yeah. So knee above your ankle. Yeah, there you go. And then if you can, lift your arm. Inhale. And as you exhale, drop your arm down and lifting the hip. Push your hip back, coming into half split pose. So if you can, lift the toe up and then moving your hands all the way back like this. And then repeat. Stepping onto the foot and then arms lifted back to Anjaneyasana, low lunge. And you will always incorporate with the breath, right? Going back to half split, half monkey. Extending the knee. So this is really hard to do with balance. So that's how your kids kind of focus on balancing, moving, breathing. That's pretty young.
I'm just like, I'm going to self-name this pose and say this is like a Superman pose.
Yeah. Looks like it, right?
Like, it's fun if you put like kiddie-ish names and maybe they're more willing to do it. I don't know. I have kids, so I have no idea what works, but.
Yeah. So after you do this a few times, and now you're gonna put your hands onto the mat and then take your foot outside, stepping onto the edge of the mat, and then now coming to the dragon pose or lizard pose that we just did.
Oh, okay.
So you can let your kids use the block to place the forearm, or maybe they don't need it. Come down to the elbow, push the knee away from the body is another option. And then tell the kids to focus on this, and then focus on the sensation that you're feeling. And then, just quiet your mind, quiet your body. And you're done, slowly come out of the pose. And then we can do it on the other side. Do you want to do the other side?
Sure. Just a quick one, just to show.
Okay.
And then like that.
Feeling hot already.
It is a great workout, actually. Even if it's slow, it's surprising how much strength you're using to warm yourself up.
Yeah, right? Okay, so arm lifted, inhale. Still dropping the hip, yeah. And then as you exhale, extend the front knee, arms gonna go behind you. And if you can, extend the knee and then point the toe, which is pretty hard to do.
Oh, wait, am I doing this one? Oh, that way, sorry.
There you go, you got it. Yeah, and then inhale to move forward, arms lifted, chest is open. And then exhale, moving your hip back, extend the front knee. Yeah, you're doing great, Jasmine.
Yeah. This truly isn't just for children, even though it's designed for kids right now.
It's pretty hard to balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the challenge that you face. And the kids love to do some challenge if it's not way too hard. If it's way too hard, they're gonna be like, oh, forget this thing.
How old, like, what do you think is the earliest age that kids can, listen and join moms in yoga session? Like, is this good for 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds? Like,
yeah, I think any age, as long as you can keep them motivated and then keep them engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep them engaged is the hard part. I'm sure the mother's experiencing with all this pandemic studying at home. Alright, let's now place the hand on the inner side of the knee, walk the foot out, stepping onto the edge of the mat, and then you can stay on your hand or onto the elbow. Pushing the knee away from the body is another option. Back to the dragon pose.
Nice.
Breathing in and out through the nose, ujjayi breath.
So you said that you teach yoga to your eldest son as well, and he said he had a good time. Like he was able to sleep better. Do you recommend yoga for children who are having sleeping issues as well?
Definitely. Yes, the slow pace yoga would be good. So yin yoga would be perfect for before sleeping actually.
Okay.
Because if any vigorous type of yoga before sleeping, your brain gets over
Right.
activated and then stimulated, right?
Yeah.
All right, we come out. Okay, and you can also take a child pose.
Oh, I love child pose.
Yeah, hands forward, push your hip back, and then drop the forehead. And then we can slowly come out. Okay, now I'm gonna turn that to the other part so that I can show you the wall. We're gonna use the wall now.
Okay.
Okay.
There's the wall. All right.
Okay. And then, you can use some cushion under your hip if you wish. So, key is to have your hip touching that wall. You just push one hip against the wall, and then as you lay down, keep adjusting your hip so that your hip is touching the wall the whole time. And as you lay down, lifting your leg and drop the forehead.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So to get to this pose, to get to this position, some of us have a little trouble to keep the hip onto the wall. If that's the case, you can always squeeze, wiggle yourself towards the wall, and then your hip.
And what is this position called?
Oh, this one is just legs up against the wall.
Oh, okay. No fancy names.
Now, we're gonna do similar to pigeon pose, but it's a different shape.
Okay.
Figure four pose. So let's bend your left knee, placing that ankle over to the right side like this.
That's right?
Left ankle over the right side. So you're gonna keep your left knee out to the side and look like a figure four with your leg.
Oh, like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you rest it against the leg?
Yes.
Your left ankle is touching. Yeah, exactly.
Number 4.
Yeah, number 4. That's right. So this is not so bad, right? You can kind of push the knee against the wall to open up your hip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once you get used to it, here comes the real part, which is bending the right knee here. By the way, you want to flex this left ankle. Flex the left ankle. Yeah. Good. And then now you're going to bend the right knee. The right foot is going to, sole of the right foot is going to touch the wall. How's that?
That feels great. Wow.
Yeah. So you can
Nice
keep,
here.
you feel that? Yeah, you can keep bending the right knee and then lower the right foot down until your left hip starts to scream.
It is quietly screaming right now.
Yeah, so some of us, maybe we're just here. This is already a good stretch.
Yeah.
Some of us are down here. Maybe if your kids are doing it, maybe the kids are pretty flexible, so they might be down here. And I thought it would be interesting if you can tape the wall or something to see your progress. Oh. So you might be starting from here and that's all you could do. But as you practice Yin Yoga daily, and then maybe your foot can go down a little bit more.
Yeah, that would be interesting to mark as you go down.
Yeah, it's always fun to see your progress.
Yeah.
So to come out of the pose, extend the right knee, and then we're gonna switch side. Right ankle over your left side, flexing that foot. You can push that right knee towards the wall gently. And once you get used to it, go ahead and bend your left knee. The sole of your left foot touches the wall.
Oh, this side I can't do at all. It's
Okay.
so interesting that your left and right side are totally different.
Mm-hmm. So when we are doing the reclining pigeon pose, it's kind of hard to see the difference left and the right, but this is very visual, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Very obvious, the difference between left and right. And you can also mark that to right side here, left side this height or something like that.
This is great actually, because for anyone who's watching, they're able to see the same pose from different angles to better understand how to do this.
That's true. Yeah. I'm glad you chose that angle. That's perfect. So this is great. You can even like read your book or something.
Yeah.
Stay here as long as you want and make sure you do both sides. So let's come out of the pose slowly, extending the left knee, extending both legs. So you can, just to release the tension, you can point the toe and then flex the ankle if you want. Point and then flex. Now we're gonna move on to the butterfly pose that we just did. You have the sole of your feet together and then lower your heels down towards the hip. So maybe you're up here, maybe you're down here, it doesn't matter. And then gently squeeze that knee towards the wall. How's that?
Feels good.
Yeah.
I love opening up the legs. I feel like, especially as a woman, to open up this area is so like soothing because it's not a posture we take very often, unlike men, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like very like freeing to open this up like this.
Yeah, so you feel your body is like feeling happy, right?
Yeah.
Your body is like, oh, I needed this. So you feel that, and that's one of the most fun part about Yin Yoga. You can feel it, like your body is thanking you, like, oh, thank you for doing this pose. I needed this.
Yeah, and these poses that we haven't done since we were young, even as babies, and it kind of just brings you back to kind of your child self almost.
Yeah.
That's joyful.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way, we're working together with the inner child too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's extend the knee one more time. And now you're going to open to the side with the knees extended. So, some of us, up here, and maybe that's it, right? But then you cannot stay like this for such a long time. You can always put the chair next to you, both sides, and rest the foot onto the chair or anything, boxes or whatever you have in the house. And then, place it under the feet for support. Yeah.
My legs are shaking and going, something. It's the jittering
I
you're
know.
talking about.
But that's the muscle that, antagonist and the synergist, they're freaking out like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
So that's when you want to move, but then you are working with that feeling. And instead of running away from the pain, running away from your fear, you're facing it, right? You're facing that pain. Yeah.
So I'm going to breathe and calm myself down. It's everything's okay.
Very good, Jasmine. Yeah. And you're doing extra hard because you don't have the support, right? We don't have the support, but next time we do it, hopefully we have a good height of boxes or something like that.
Yeah.
To come out of the pose, slowly, move slow always when you come out. Move slow, lifting the knee, and then have your feet together. And again, you can point the toe and flex the foot. And even just here in this pose, legs up against the wall, this is really good for balancing your blood pressure. If you have low blood pressure or high blood pressure, it works for both ways. So draining all the blood down towards your heart, and then once you come out of the pose, you're sending fresh blood to your feet. So this is also really good. You come out of the pose, slowly bend the knee, and then bring your knees to one side. And then touch the floor.
So that people can see better.
So, how was it? I'm gonna turn back.
I'm sorry about the dog. And
No.
a yoga for dog class as well.
You can definitely do that.
But no, that was incredible. And there's such easy poses that children can do. And it's so great for adults too, obviously. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I hope
Thank you.
Yeah. So wait, let me look at my paper. Make sure I'm not missing any questions. Let's see. Oh, so you do teach multiple types of yoga, right? So what are the styles that you offer? Sorry, hold up. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get rid of Pogo so that she doesn't keep making a sound. Go.
He's so cute.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, much quieter now. So what are the types that you teach?
Yeah, so first of all, I teach in Japanese and English, and working on Spanish. So I teach Vinyasa, I teach Yin Yoga, we just did. I teach Kids Yoga and Restorative. I teach Chair Yoga. In fact, I update the YouTube channel there, posting a lot of Chair Yoga video for.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
And I remember when I was trying to take yoga classes at my local gym, they offered so many, and I didn't know what the difference was, and I didn't know which one was right for me or what the differences were. So can you tell me like the, I guess, 4 types that you teach? How can people say, okay, this is the yoga that I want to learn from you? So
according to what you need, what you're aiming for. So if you want to have more relaxation, I recommend restorative, just not moving so much, just completely relaxed, right? And then if you're going for flexibility, I would recommend the Yin Yoga. Yeah, and it's also good for anxiety too. And then if you're trying to get more muscles, and then Vinyasa would be great. A lot of movement, a lot of working out actually, yeah.
And you said the chair yoga?
Chair yoga, yeah. So before this pandemic happened, I used to teach at the senior center, the daycare center. Yeah, and it's for senior people that I teach, but I think it's not only just for senior people. I think it's great for people who has like knee injuries or any shoulder injuries or anything like that. If you cannot stand on your knees or on your feet, chair yoga, that chair, the support from chair, that's really great. You can actually do so many yoga poses using a chair, and then you can still get to use the muscles too. So
okay, great.
Yeah.
So we have 40 seconds left because Instagram sets a timer and you're not allowed to do more than an hour. So 30 seconds left, but thank you so much again, Kaz. For anyone who's interested in taking classes, you also teach Japanese as well, right? For anyone who's just interested in learning the language as well, you're available. Yeah. I will have, so this will be posted on Instagram feed and also on my website, and I'm going to write a blog about it. So anyone who wants a little routine and a cheat sheet, I will make that too. And please contact Kaz. I will have her website and her email address available after this as well. Okay, 2 seconds left. Thank you so much.